Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Katie. I'm a licensed nail technician. If you clicked on this video, it's possible that you are wanting to become a nail tech yourself, or you're thinking about it and you're curious how much a nail tech really makes. So when answering that question, how much does a nail tech make? First of all, there's not really one set answer for this question. You just can't answer it. It's not like, oh, a nail tech makes blank. That's just not at all how it is. It's very all over the place. Every nail tech is different depending on what area you're in, what are you charging, what services do you offer, all that stuff. So I am here to break down all the numbers and show you guys the possibilities and how much nail techs really make. So a little background on me before I get started. I've been a licensed nail technician for almost 10 years now. I've been in a little bit of all situations throughout my nail career. So I'm going to break down all the different ways that you can make money earning a nail tech, what type of jobs you can have, basically the possibilities of how much you can make. I mean, can a nail tech make six figures? I'm going to let you know. So first of all, there's a couple different ways that a nail tech can work. And the first one is they can be an employee, which means they would be working for someone else, employed by someone else, usually by a salon or something, and this pay would usually be hourly, which honestly, it's probably going to be minimum wage or just a little bit above minimum wage, plus your tips that you would make. So it's not going to be like a crazy amount of money if you are an employee. Another way that you can be employed is based off of commission. So in that sense, you would make money only when you're seeing clients, and it'd be a certain percentage. For example, like 60-40, where you would make 40% of the service and the salon would take in 60. And the reason that it's usually a little bit more for the salon is because since you are an employee, the salon is buying all of the products. They are usually the ones like who have all the clients. They're like an established salon, so they have clients already and they just need people to do the services. It may be a little bit less pay for a nail technician to be an employee. There are some people who prefer this because they don't have to worry about buying the products. When they get their paycheck, the taxes are already taken out. You usually have to do less marketing for yourself because, like I said, it's usually an established salon and they're already done all the marketing. They already have clients that want to come in and they're hiring you because they have to turn away people or they need just more nail techs to be able to perform the services that they need. If you are an employee, the salon may have health insurance, 401k, all that stuff. That's why some people prefer to be an employee versus working for themselves. The downside of working as an employee is you're not working for yourself, so you don't get to make your own hours. It's usually a little bit less pay, may not get to choose the products that you're working with because the salon may have specific products that they want you to use. And so you have a little bit less freedom in that way. The other way a nail tech can work is by working for themselves, being an independent contractor, having your own studio. This is going to give you the ability to make more money. You can use your own products. But the thing is, when you work for yourself, you are only making money when you have a client in your chair. So I just want to really push this thought through that you do have the ability to make money, but you have to be booked. If you are not booked, it doesn't matter how much you charge for a service, you're not going to make money. If you want to make good money, you have that ability, you have to be booked, you have to have the clients coming in. And this is why the topic of how much does a nail tech make is like such a variable thing, because it just totally depends on so many different things. So I'm going to break it down and we can see kind of the potential and what the average is and all that stuff. So according to Google, the average salary of a nail tech is $26,000 per year. In my area where I live, that amount will not go very far. So when I search how much money someone needs to make to live comfortably in my city, Google says $60,000 per year. So $26,000 compared to $60,000 that you would need to live comfortably comparatively in my city, you know, 26,000 is not going to get you very much in a year. That's barely anything. That's just over what, $2,000 a month. That's just not going to cover it in my area. These numbers are estimates, and you know, every area is different as far as what you can charge, how much you're going to make, all that stuff. Just keep that in mind. I live in a big city. My numbers might be slightly different than what yours would be if or someone who lives out like in the country in a very small town. So what are the factors that will determine the salary of an independent nail tech? The amount of clients, the location, your expenses, and how much you're charging for your services, so your prices. So let's do the math for a full-time nail tech and let's see what the possibilities are for an income. So we are going to use the example of a full-time nail tech, so 5 days a week. So that would be about 260 working days in 1 year. I've seen this written out multiple times where it's like,
if you work 5 days a week, you need to charge this, and after a year, you'll make 100 grand.
But those calculations, they look really, really good on paper, but those don't account for real life. So you have to take into consideration that you may get sick during the year, your clients may get sick, your clients are going to cancel. Do you want to take a vacation? Because if you don't want to take a vacation, then maybe it's more accurate, but most people want to go out of town or do something, you know, fun a couple times a year. I just want to be super real. It's like, you're not going to be booked 100% of the days that you work. It's just life. Life happens. You're going to get sick. Your client's going to cancel last minute. It's very, very, very unlikely that someone would ever be booked 100% of the time through the entire year. For this example, let's just say you're booked 90% of the time. So that would be about 234 days out of the year. So this would leave a total of 26 days per year to account for sick days, vacations, cancellations, all that stuff. I feel like 90% is still a little bit generous, but we're just going to use that for our example here. Okay, so for the example, let's use the service of a gel polish manicure because most people can do that service in an hour. That's something that I feel like most nail techs can do in an hour. And let's say your rate is $30 for a gel polish manicure. So if you are booked solid 90% of the year, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, the total would be $56,160 for the year. So this would be your gross income before any expenses or taxes are taken out. And then keep in mind also, this would only be if you're booked solid 90% of the entire year. So now let's add in our expenses. To be completely transparent with you guys, I will share my average expenses per year, and I see clients 3 days a week. So I'm only part-time in the salon, like working on clients, and that's just because I have other things that I do. For example, YouTube, social media, content creation, all that stuff. So I see clients 3 days per week. So not full-time, and my yearly expenses average around $14,000 per year. I also want to say again, because I live in a big city, my rent for my studio or rent for being in a salon may be a little bit more than somebody's rent if they are in a small town. Just keep that in mind. My numbers might be a little bit different than somebody else's. So since I average about $14,000 per year for 3 days a week, let's just say for somebody who works 5 days a week, let's say the average is $20,000 a year. And again, this would be different depending on your location and the products that you're using for services. There are some products that people love to use that are just a little bit more expensive. It's just gonna, you know, your expenses are gonna be slightly different than everyone else depending on what you want to use. Expenses would include your rent, either you're renting a station in a salon, you're renting a studio, your business insurance, licensing, your product supplies, and a lot more. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes into being an independent nail tech. So that's kind of just some of the expenses that would be in that $20,000. So let's just say for that $30 gel polish manicure, 90% of the year, and then our yearly income was $56,160. Now we minus our expenses and we're already down to $36,160. You know, that just took out like a big chunk right there. So then you would take out your taxes, and for taxes, we're gonna use an average of 25%. This would be state taxes and federal. Again, I'm in the US. You know, if you're in a different country, it's gonna be totally different. Also, if you're in a different state in the US, it's going to be different. I recommend, if you aren't sure and you want a totally like accurate number, consulting an accountant or somebody that can help you with that and give you accurate information for your area. So for taxes, again, I'm using the average of 25%. So now we're all the way down to $27,120. Remember, this would only be if you were booked 90% of the years. So your take home would be $27,120. So as you can see from that, unfortunately, most nail techs are not millionaires. And I'm just trying to be real with you guys and break it down, because if you're watching this and you want to become a nail tech, it's really important to know this stuff and know that while you do have the potential to make good income, I want to just not to be a Debbie Downer, but just to be real, is that most nail techs, the average nail tech, is not making six figures. Now let's do the exact same equation, but we are going to do this next one if our services average around $50 an hour. And again, we're booked for 90% of the year. And to be real, I just want to say this is a very small percentage of nail techs. This should not be an expected number, so don't go into being a nail tech expecting to make this number. If you are making around $50 per hour as a nail tech, it's usually because you have been a nail tech for a while, you're using really high quality services, you've set yourself apart, you've made yourself different from other nail techs, so that way clients see the value of paying more for your services. So I just wanted to make sure and say though that it's like a very small, very small percentage of nail techs that would be in this equation. So if our services averaged around $50 an hour, 8 hours a day, 234 days out of the year, then our income would be $93,600 per year. So almost $100,000. This would be a really good income for most people. Even in my area, even in the big city, $93,000 in a year is very good. So again, we're gonna minus our expenses. Let's say that $20,000. Now we're down to $73,600, and then we're gonna minus our 25% for taxes, and we end up with take-home income of $55,200, which is a very good income. So you can kind of see the range depending on how much you're charging, how much you're going to be making per hour on average, how much that can determine how much you're making per year. So there are also some nail techs who charge lower prices. There are nail techs who charge more, you know, even up to $60, $75, $100 per hour. So there is a pretty big range as far as what a nail tech makes. So that's why there's really no like one umbrella answer for this question. This is a pretty like broad question. Every nail tech is going to be different, and it all comes down to how much are you going to be making per hour for your services, and how much are your expenses? So another important topic that I wanted to touch on is tipping. Neither of these equations accounted for tips, and tips can be common in some areas but not in others. So in my area, tipping a salon service provider is a common practice. It can range from 10% to 25% of the service. However, tipping, I always say, should never be expected, especially in your budget. When I'm calculating how much I should be making, how much I'm on track for, whatever, I do not account for tips in that, because tipping is something that somebody does to let you know that you did a good job and that they appreciate your service. It's not a requirement. I never want to give anybody the impression that they have to tip me, or that I'm not gonna like them or something if they don't tip me, especially because there are some people out there who are coming to you for a service and it is literally all they can afford is that price of the service. They really want their nails done, but maybe they just don't make that much money, and this is a really special treat for them. They literally cannot afford to add that tip on there. So it's not that they don't appreciate it, they just can't afford it. And I don't ever want to make somebody feel bad for that. So I always say, while tips are very greatly appreciated, they are not expected. And this is why I say, when discussing the topic of an income of a nail tech, tipping should never be added as an expectation. It's just a added bonus that is appreciated, but I never want to say that it is an expectation and you need to add it onto your calculations for how much you're going to make, because it shouldn't be like that. So like I said, tipping usually ranges from 10 to 25%. So just to kind of show you guys, in our first example where we had a income of $56,160 for that $30 an hour, the tipping could add an additional $5,600 to $14,000 per year, making the gross total income $61,760 to $70,160 for that $30 an hour service tech. So as you can see, tipping can add a good bonus to your income. Also, in the second example of the $93,000 income, tipping could add an additional $9,360 to $23,400. So making that gross income range of $102,960 to $117,000. And that's for that $50 an hour nail tech. And that's again before expenses and taxes. So then that nail tech again would now be in that six-figure range. The tipping really is greatly appreciated, but I always just say it should never be expected, it should just be appreciated. So one other thing I wanted to mention was another way a nail tech can make some additional income is by selling some retail products. For example, cuticle oils, lotion, it's a common one. I personally retail the cuticle oil and the lotion that I use on my clients, as well as a couple other things, because I'm already using it on them and I love it, and then they start to love it because I use it on them after every service, and it's just a little thing that can kind of give you another little bonus. So for example, if you sold one $20 product a week, it would give you an additional $1,040 per year. If you sold one $20 product per day, it would get you an additional $5,200 per year. So every little thing can count towards your entire gross income. So just keep that in mind. Again, if you are thinking about becoming a nail tech, I do highly recommend having just a few products for your clients to purchase, especially the ones that you're already using on them. Then it can just give you that little bit of extra income. So there are also many other avenues that a nail tech can work in besides a salon, like TV, movies, fashion shows, magazines. So there's a whole bunch of other nail techs out there that wouldn't necessarily fit into these equations. I'm sure they would have a totally different pricing structure. When asking what the yearly income of a nail tech is, you can see it's pretty variable. There's no set income for every single nail tech. I would say it's a pretty big range out there, just depending on where the nail tech is located, how much their expenses are, how much they're charging for services, all that stuff. You do have the potential to make a good income, but you've got to be booked and you need to be offering high quality services at a higher price point. And this may take a nail tech years to work up to and to build a steady, loyal clientele that are going to keep returning to you, and you're going to have that steady income coming in. A six-figure income is possible for a nail tech, again, but you're going to have to be booked and you're going to have to be charging higher prices, and again, having good quality services to justify those higher prices. If you're thinking of becoming a nail tech, I do suggest doing research on the average prices in your area, as well as the average price for renting a station in a salon, kind of expenses like that. And this is going to help you determine the price point that you would need to charge in order to make enough money to not only cover your expenses and that kind of stuff, but also your personal expenses like your bills and your house and groceries and all that kind of stuff. I would say passion in this career is going to get you a lot farther than the drive to only make money. If you're going into becoming a nail tech because you think that you're going to make a lot of money, I would suggest kind of reevaluating that, and hopefully this video kind of helped you break it down. But if you want to be a nail tech because you love nails and you love making people happy with nails and that kind of stuff, then this could be a good job for you. Hope this video helped you answer the question, how much does a nail tech make? And I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to fill it with lots of good facts and like really break it down for you guys to make it easy to understand. And if you have any questions, let me know always in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. And if you think this video could be helpful for someone who maybe is thinking of becoming a nail tech, then don't be afraid to share it and send it to them. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well so you don't miss any future videos, and I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful day.